Hey guys, welcome to season 2 of the Seymour podcast. We are MSW. I'm Kane Carter.
I'm Seymour Cash.
And today we're joined by our first guest ever on the Seymour podcast, the lovely Maxine. Today we're going to follow up from our COVID episode from season 1. We're going to talk about the Great Reset, COVID, the conspiracies around it, and we're going to touch a little bit on off-the-grid living. So we've got Maxine here, who's a bit of an expert. She's been making a lot of noise anyway.
An expert. Carl's just got me here because he just wants me to say something controversial so that he can get the ratings and I'll be in cuffs. This
is how we do. This is how we do. I think a good place for us to start our conversation is to talk about the Great Reset. Purely because whilst we was off camera, we was having a little conversation around this episode and this topic. And my fellow hostie over here, Cash, didn't know what the Great Reset is. So,
first of all, thank you for coming on the team. You get me? First guest and all that. So it's an honour to have you. But yeah, basically, what is the Great Reset?
The Great Reset. There's a long history to it, and there's many things that feed into it. But a lot of people will know this without even knowing. So when you hear all the global leaders, Boris, Matt Hancock say, build back better, that is the global reset. But people just don't know. But it's a mantra for them to be bringing in the new, what's to come. So basically...
like a new world order? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a guy called Klaus Schwab, and he's the chief executive of WEF, which is the World Economic Forum. It's where all the global leaders go to learn about social policy, economical policy changes and things like that. They all go to that every so often. Most place that they call it is Davos, I think, in Switzerland. So that organisation is like a think tank where they all basically feed ideas to how they can all change and influence where they live.
Is that led by the WHO Association as well? Do they have any involvement? The World Health Organization?
All do. Yeah, they all do.
Okay.
It's like they all probably invest in each other because they all contribute.
Sorry. So people are sitting around thinking of how we're going to be living.
Basically,
sort of thing.
Yeah. So they're unelected. They're a private organisation, unelected. Yet the government that we elect, they
uses their advice.
Exactly. But people will say it's just advice, but they're going with it, and it's not something they bring to the table for us to even consider.
Are they taking other advices from other people?
Of course, you've got globalists, technocrats, communists, if you even want to include them in there, all of them, because they have a say in terms of how influential they are, how they want to move things in the world, because it benefits them.
So do you have an idea of what they're working towards then, or what? What it's going to be like after this reset?
Yeah, so basically, they want a one world government. They want to centralise everything, and that comes with the money, that comes with basically all the countries across the world basically following the same set of rules.
Right.
But to do that, they want to create a kind of surveillance state. Okay. So they need to basically introduce things like COVID, not saying that it's not real, but they need to be able to use these crises to justify their plans, to kind of make stricter rules about how they control the in and out. So basically, WEF and the Global Reset also links to the United Nations. And United Nations, they're basically the same thing, but they all work together to say how we're going to eradicate poverty, how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that. But they've got a goal called, or an agenda, should I say, called United Nations Agenda 21.
Okay, yeah.
But it's also known as the Environment and Sustainability thing that they like to call, and this is where the climate change stuff comes into it. So with that, they want an inventory, and they want to control all land, all resources, all people, and have a record of that so they can say who can do what and when, and use climate change and crises like pandemics because of a virus to say. So while they're controlling the way we move, they have the freedom to have all these land, do whatever it is they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's that 1% versus the 99% problem.
And in the surveillance side of things,
what's going on right now.
The surveillance side of things, is that where, because I've heard a few people speak about 5G being a part of the Great Reset. So is it the belief, or is it the way that things are, that the 5G is being introduced as the tool that they need, the platform that they need to be able to...
That's exactly it, because they want to create smart cities.
Right.
And China is the model for that, because China has the most advanced technology, and they've already started implementing their technologies that kind of map in terms of surveillance, credit scores. If you're not doing certain things, your score rating gets affected. If you're crossing the road in the wrong way, you'll be classed as a citizen that's not doing what they should be doing. So 5G basically, like you said, is the tool to kind of allow these smart technologies to come to the surface. Some of them, I think with anything you have good and positive, negative and positive outcomes, but people don't know what that radiation does to the body, and then that's the next other conspiracy that then people will go into with 5G, because there's health concerns about what it does to the cells in your body because of the lack of oxygen.
So basically we're getting like attacked from two sides, basically. So
there's
like,
loads of sides, mate.
So what you're saying is that they're exercising more control over us by keeping us under greater surveillance and understand how we kind of move.
Well, they kind of already know how we move. They've been able to do that, I guess, through how they've been doing it so far right now.
As well.
Using data and AI.
And they're radiating us.
Yeah.
God, what is this?
But that's
a
common
bad thing.
That's a known fact that cellular technology.
I know
that we see with all.
But I didn't know that
radiation.
Like, I hear all the conspiracy theories about people saying that the 5Gs are like they're bad for your health, but the most of them I was hearing is that they want to watch what you're doing, innit? I didn't really think that it was a deeper health issue.
But then that's why people also say another conspiracy about 9/11 and how that was never really real. They just needed that crisis to happen so they could then say we need to be more stringent with our surveillance, and then they conditioned the
public
to think, we really need this. It's a good thing that they're doing. But it's not, because at the end of the day, we should be questioning them. How was anybody, if they were able to, and it wasn't, because people say it was a demolition. Trump says that as well, but people say, I'm a Trump supporter, so I shouldn't bring him into the thing. I don't believe in no two-party politics, but
You're a Trump supporter?
No.
No.
So I thought we cleared that.
Trump supporters will never say that.
But Trump represents the alternative. He represents the views of the things we're talking about now.
Yeah. So for anybody out there that's watching this and is thinking, do you know the Great Reset doesn't sound like a bad thing? Like, they're looking at trying to eradicate poverty, improve the climate.
Go on the WEF website. But what when you go on the WEF website, it will say, like, they have like a little simulation thing where it says you'll own nothing, you won't have a property, and you'll rent everything and you'll be happy. It literally says that in like so when it says you're not going to own anything, they're already projecting what they want to happen. It's kind of like, okay, we won't own anything, but we'll be happy about that. But then who owns it, and who do we rent it from?
Yeah, the question there is, okay, so who is going to own it and who's going to be unhappy? Because you can't live in a world where everyone's happy.
Exactly.
So who's going to be unhappy?
So they're painting a picture of the nice to haves. Let's get rid of poverty. We want all equality. But how? You know what I mean? Who's the minds behind that, and how is that exactly going to happen?
What are they going to control? Like, so you're saying that they're going to control us more. What do you think that they're going to try and control us to do?
So right now we've got COVID, and there are organisations already saying that you can't get into this venue or you can't get on this plane until you've been vaccinated, and they want the health passport IDs, and that will track your health record. We've never had anything where your health records are on paper to the point where it restricts you from freedom of movement, basically. And you know, in many cases before, people would say it's discrimination for you to even say someone can or can't do something based on a health problem that they may have. Do you know what I mean? If someone has cancer or if they have something that really bad or whatever, do you stop them from going somewhere? Have you ever stopped anyone before?
So basically, at the moment,
yeah,
they're controlling how we move around, and they're doing that by using COVID.
Yeah, and then that kind of
is your angle.
Keeps people in their zones and conditioned to, you know, it's social conditioning, because it's kind of like we're saying what you can and can't do.
Yeah, but what are they conditioning us to do? That's
take the vaccine.
It's the psychology of there's people
that's
that are saying I want
to take the vaccine, innit? So from what I understand, the theory is that they're setting us up to take this vaccine, and for us to begin relying on these vaccines and relying on these pharmaceutical companies that are making these drugs, because they give us this vaccine. 20 years later, this vaccine's got X, Y, and Z in it that's going to cause these problems, so now you need to take this thing.
It's a vicious cycle.
10 years later, you know, it's got...
So it's just all
that's the theory.
Yeah, big pharma. It's $1 billion industry.
Essentially.
And then the other conspiracy is Bill Gates. Bill Gates is the one that's the founder of God knows what, but he's invested in every sort of health tech organisation you can think of when it comes to GMO and foods. When it comes to vaccines, obviously, he's been known to use people and experiment these things, especially in India and Africa. So he's got a bad rep, but he's got a bad rep for other things, but maybe we'll save that for another time.
Just very quickly, this is another thing I want to touch on.
Yeah.
Why are people fasting up themselves? Actually, I know why, but it annoys me that they're fasting up themselves and going to Africa and India and these undeveloped countries. But use your own people then, because that's what you're trying to say the things for.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you'll have activists out there fighting against that. But because they're not like us developed, and we have certain bodies to protect us for now. People can't get away with things like that here. But they don't have that infrastructure. But then they'll say that they need to be more controlled so that there is more protection. It's like, please, you just need to arrest these people, but you won't because they're giving you money.
So why do you think that Bill Gates is leading that? Because this is obviously something that's a long scale sort of project or a long scale thing that's happening. So he's not going to be so he's not going to be alive to see the outcome of this. Essentially, what's his motivation? Do you think?
But the problem that people have is that they assume that it's just one person making things happen. Not one person. It's groups of people with certain agendas, certain ideologies that want these things to happen. He is just the face, and he is just the puppet on strings, in a sense that if anything does go wrong or not, he is the face of it.
That's that bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what?
But there's everyone else behind the scenes.
Our last episode, we spoke about.
It links in with the same thing with the technology.
But you were speaking about the Rothschilds and these guys and
how
it gets passed through that generation.
Yeah.
So this could be him just continuing his generations. I mean his family's legacy.
Watch videos with his dad and things like that.
Who, Bill Gates?
Yeah. There's videos with his dad. I think he passed last year actually. His father.
What was his dad into tech and all of this as well?
I can't remember what he said. He said something about like if in his lifetime, if he could eradicate anything, it was something about religion, and because of the divisions that it causes. And it's kind of like, well, it's not religion that necessarily does it, it's the demand to be seen and heard in religion, probably. Because when you protect it and you keep it to yourself, you're not harming anyone. When you're trying to use religion to justify and make things happen, that's when it's a problem. So for him to say that as his last thing, it's like faith is a big thing for people. When you have faith, you don't easily let people come in and
him saying that
manipulate
it's like a religion in itself, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Him saying that is kind of like it's more like a cult actually when I think about it. He basically he's trying to work towards getting rid of religion, isn't it?
Do you know what?
To unify
Oh,
humanity. But that's
what
like
it's
a
called.
cult,
United Nations,
Oh, I've just-
one world government.
I've just
everybody
deeped it
the
though.
same.
I've actually just deeped it. My man has created a religion, bro.
Yeah,
Of course
man.
Bill Gates, with the whole Microsoft internet thing, he's just created he's created all of these.
Yeah, it's
all
basically
of us,
like that
me,
thing out of what's
we all follow this brother.
Yeah,
Think
yeah.
about
All
the
aligned.
Matrix.
I've just
Think about the Matrix.
I'm actually just.
What is that?
That's insane.
It's
Think
the
about
way
the
I would
Matrix
describe
and the
it.
numbers.
What's
Do you think we're living in a matrix?
Yes, because everything's an illusion. Because what you think, your perceptions in life are based on what you've grown to know. But not many people grow to learn what is true to them.
Yeah.
And that's a different experience. But when you're just absorbing what people tell you and think that this is the way you should live, this is the way that you think, that might not be real. It's just
But
something
why?
that you've lived by.
Yeah.
And
So,
there's
but
a
why does that
difference.
mean that we live in a matrix?
Yeah,
Why wouldn't it just
because-
mean that we live in a?
Because
Are you
full
using
of
that? Are you
lies.
using that metaphorically?
Yeah.
You're saying
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm like.
So basically, the way you look at the world is like.
Yeah, I'm not
construct
thinking
of
like
what
this is
you've
the
been
Truman Show, although it is kind of like the Truman Show.
Yeah.
But sorry, what was your question?
So basically, I was saying like what you're saying is the matrix. The matrix is kind of like a construct. What you see is like a construct of what people have taught you in life.
Yeah, and what they've created themselves. Because at the end of the day, when you think about the foundations and all that is around us, we didn't do any of that. Do you know what I mean? And not many people
I
question
think
why
about it
they're
all the
in
time.
place. But for me, I see that they create these things so that we're dependent and we don't learn to empower ourselves. And this is the problem that we're in now, because it's a question of, do you fight against what you see as tyranny and going against your human rights, or you sitting back saying, oh yeah, we need to do this because we need to get back to work, sort of thing.
Do you know what? That's so funny because like the one example that I was thinking of when you said that, I was thinking about the police. I was thinking, that you're just born into a world where there's this gang that runs things.
Yeah.
They're not a gang, but I'm just gonna I'm just using
No,
that to explain it.
They are.
Like, so we never collectively said, do you know what? We really need a police service. Like, you government should instate one. Like, we was just born into a world where these guys will run you down if they think you've done something.
Yeah.
Like, so you haven't really contributed towards the rules of the world or nothing.
No.
Like, you're living under someone else's
Exactly.
idea of
Exactly.
reality.
Exactly. So when people
It's a good way to
say,
put it.
slavery is over, there's
Slavery in disguise.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
It's still,
We're more comfortable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're comfortable. We can sleep better.
And just
We have better living conditions.
another
But
way
it's
of
not-
putting what you guys have been saying as well is that we're kind of, our knowledge is restricted to what is ultimately shown to us and taught to us. And what I mean by that is we all grew up in the same schooling system, so we're all restricted to learn
that curriculum.
that curriculum. But what is outside of that?
Like you know what I noticed?
And that's decided by the government as well.
Like, what's mad is, like, you see, in Spain, I thought to myself one time, in Spain, see when they do history in Spain, they do Spanish history. But we do English history, so we've already got different information. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it's biased. It's
Like, so the way we think about things that have happened in history and then, like, the proverbs or whatever that you want to say were given to you to learn lessons from and how you should behave and how to strategize from examples before in history, they're all like one way. Whereas like someone in, I don't know, say someone in like, not in Istanbul, say in Afghanistan, someone in Afghanistan, their schooling system, they would have been taught about Persian history and about all of those kings and emperors or leaders or whatever they were and their strategies and the way that they built their economies in their countries.
And almost celebrate them as well, right? Yeah.
Like, like,
It's indoctrination.
it's so you're limited to where you are as well.
Mind
in a sense.
control, in a sense.
Yeah,
It's mad. I think that's mad.
Yeah.
and then it kind of brings me on to another topic I wanted to discuss with you because from what I understand, the solution that you see to this is off the grid living. Is that right, or have I just jumped to conclusions?
Yeah, no, it's about being self-sustainable, because if you're not, you're going to forever be dependent on the system. And
everyone is already, isn't they?
Not everybody, because
Most people are like,
yeah.
right now,
majority of people are.
Like, we just depend on the infrastructure of society.
In different, I suppose some people rely on it in different ways.
Yes. Like in the States, it's very popular for people to be off grid.
Yeah, but they've got space for it.
Exactly.
Where?
In America.
Oh, in America, okay, yeah.
And then probably other places where
that was always one of my dreams, you know, when I was little.
To live
like to just live in a hut and just go and chop wood and catch fish and just live just there with my people, but it would have to be my people. I couldn't do it alone. With my family and just be happy in it. Like,
so do you think you could do it with other people that are not your family? Do you think it has to be your family?
I could do it in a village.
I think it's important to do it with.
They become your family.
Yeah, I think it's important to do it with like-minded people, because you have to have shared values and shared convictions, because if you're there, I mean, if you're there with different people, that's just like getting a group of your work people and trying to work your way through living with each other. That would be quite difficult. You can do it, but you would need to have some sort of system that allows you to deal with conflicts, all these sorts of stuff. Oh, otherwise you're in this shit. Excuse my French, of what is already is in this world. Because unless you follow some sort of system of thought.
Just to play like devil's advocate, Could it not be seen as if we decided to rally up people and we all got together and said, okay, we're gonna go and live off grid? Could that not be seen as our own version of the Great Reset? Like we're trying to reset things ourselves because we're saying we're in this system, we want to break this system and we want to create a new one. Yeah. So it would be fair to say to that.
Yeah, I was watching a podcast the other day called The Greater Reset, and they literally had.
No, I don't watch that.
Well, yeah, watch this.
No, I'm joking.
But and they were just basically advising people what the solutions, and one of them was obviously the off-grid and
people have done that loads of times in America, haven't they? They've gone and grouped up and gone and started their own village.
Everywhere.
Started their own farming society and traded with the actual normal society with their goods and I've seen that. But they always end up as cults.
That's what I was gonna say, like, because
then that's why you need to be clear on why you're there, and you need to have a good understanding of the people that you're with.
Yeah, but you see what it is, the reason why I feel like they're always going to end up as cults, because you're there with like-minded people, and you're going to go and you're going to do your thing, and then to you, it's like this is working, and because it starts working, you're like, this is the way of life, and then when someone comes along and starts trying to like get you guys to move on or whatever, you're going to defend it like mad, and then that's when you get seen as a cult, because you're like, this is right because it's working for me, and you're going to defend it.
Yeah, but that's fine, because if you're defending your truth and what you want for yourself,
but to other people,
they're
always going to see it as a cult.
Yeah, that's their business, because as long as I'm not harming you or whatever with what I'm doing with myself and my family and friends or community, it's none of your business really. But they care when, money is involved and it's their land, or if they're doing this and doing that, like the UN agenda, and they're trying to control land, people are going to have problems.
Humans do.
See, I guess, because I guess my struggle with the idea is because I'm the same. It's something I've always thought about, and I idolize. I thought it sounds so good. I can be naturally how I'm supposed to be, and doing the things that as humans we probably should be doing. Thinking about how we lived centuries ago, but then I just think I can't help but think, there's always going to be a time where we need a governing body. Like what if somebody kills someone? What if somebody comes onto that land and they want to be a part of the society, but you're like, no, you're not like, you don't think like us, you're not like-minded like us. Whose responsibility is it to remove that person, or should somebody even be removing that person because it's meant to be off-grid, it's meant to be free living? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I know what you're saying.
That's why it ends up cultish.
No, but
because they're like, you're not joining, or you have to do something to prove that you could join.
No, it's basically like there's a growing community that are growing more spiritually aware, and you could say they have their understanding of life and death in terms of energy, this, that and the other, and then you've got religion, you've got all the rest of it. So it depends on what your faith and belief system is, that when you come together, you know how you're going to move when it comes to making those decisions, or you learn together, but you still have the basic foundations there. Otherwise, you're going to be conflicted.
There's got to be some kind of mandate.
But the problem is because the way that we work in this world currently, we all know each other, but we only do a little for each other because we're too busy spending hours for someone else and ourselves. Do you know what I mean? So we're not learning how to work with each other in the ways we would then.
Yeah.
And then when you're working and doing that, that's when you'll question your sense of self, what's real, what's true, what's important to you, and you work with that. But here, the rules are different.
Yeah. I'm just constantly trying to think of like the other side of the argument.
Yeah.
You see, for instance, if we was, I guess my problem is I'm thinking of off the grid living on a mass scale.
Yeah.
Which
for
is
everybody.
you can't for everybody. It wouldn't.
It wouldn't work.
It'll be like the Book of Eli.
No,
I
but
feel
it
like
wouldn't- but it
humans
wouldn't
are
be
designed
instant.
to naturally evolve into like a super organism.
Yeah.
Like not in the next 100 years or whatever. I'm talking like hundreds of thousands of years ago. Like we're naturally like supposed to evolve into being more connected and work like a machine almost, like not individually, like as the collective.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a hive mind, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're always going to need some kind of mandate, some kind of code, some kind of leader for us to all run and regulate by, so that we can predict how everyone else is going to
But
behave.
you just work with each other's strengths. Do you know what I mean? And how you do your bit in that collective. It's not about being authority over anybody. It's about being self-accountable and.
Authority is just. It's a job that needs to be done, not like someone has to lead.
But then there's guidance. There's a difference between being led and then being guided. If you are have more experience than somebody, or you consider them to have more wisdom, then they can lead and give you guidance so that you can do what you're doing. But
on a
they
large
don't
scale,
need to be cracking the whip and saying, you know what I mean? I'm telling you, this is what you must do with your life.
What I'm saying is, on a large scale, you're going to need some type of something for everyone.
Oh yeah,
some
but
common ground.
but you're thinking that it's going to all happen at once. These are people are starting to do these things now, so it's a trickling effect. It happens over time. Not
Essentially,
everybody.
it's going to be tribes, lots of tribes kind of thing.
Right. But the tribe will have its own something. You get me?
Yeah, there'll be like a lead. Well, no,
it doesn't have.
I think you said
once
even
you
if
create
everyone.
a tribe, it's a cell, isn't it? It's not connected to anything else anymore. It's its own tribe.
No. But then that's what I'm saying to you. So for example, the people that I know that are off-gridders, they are spiritually connected in the sense that they see everything as all one. So Mother Earth is the source that's nourishing us, sustaining us.
So what do they
And
say
then
about
they
the
learn
people
about-
that don't live their lifestyle?
But then they're not
Are they-
trying.
are
They're
they
not
part
trying
of
to
the one?
build with those people.
I'm just saying, are they part of the one as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
Yeah. No, because
I
we're
imagine
all
they see
part.
them as
I mean,
kind of
obviously,
damaging.
there's different groups
Mother
of
Earth.
people where if they're from a certain ethnic group, they might not see the other group as them, but depending on where they are, you might not even see that group there anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's not necessarily something they have to battle with. It's the difference when if you're in a predominantly white country and then you get loads of other different groups, then there might be something there and vice versa. But you go where you feel most connected and not all people.
Yeah, because you're coming from a place of spirituality. You're coming from a place of energy and stuff like that. So things like race and color and people trying to lead, it doesn't even come into the picture.
No. They respect that you are your own person with your own truth and you have your own lessons to learn. But in order for the collective to work, everybody has to be mindful of who is doing what in the group, and you're supporting each other.
Yeah.
It's not
and then everyone, so I guess everyone would have to sort of come together and input onto how they think the community should be, and they'll decide together.
Yeah.
So there'll be a mandate.
So they'll form a government.
Yeah.
Some kind of council.
Which is fine, but everyone should have a say. And then if you want to elect who is better off mediating or then that has to be a consensus within the group. But there's always a natural hierarchy within systems of the law and nature.
Yeah,
so
and then the problem
it's not a bad thing. It's just how it gets used. Is what.
Exactly.
It's
But
what you're working towards.
but somebody always abuses it.
Yeah.
So they always abuse that power. They always whoever it could be.
I think we should go back to monarchy. To be honest.
What?
Yeah, because it's
that,
easier
King and Queen?
because it's easier to talk one man into making us go in a direction than it is to do a government. If everyone says, look, we need bigger houses, like we need bigger houses, we're gonna break in the palace and behead you if you don't do the bigger houses. He has to order everyone to do.
Josh has been watching. Cash has been watching up bare Game of Thrones. You know?
No, it would be easier. But like, I've used it in that way because
I know what you mean.
Kings and queens are used back then.
I know what you're saying because of the
we're going to evict you from the throne and we're going to exile you to France if you don't actually lead as a good king. The king's got to do the king stuff and make his people happy, whereas the government just kind of sees it as, I'm just governing. Sort of thing. I don't really care what's happening with you. I'm just
it's like a tick box.
You know what that comes from?
If things go wrong, I'll
just go and be a lawyer.
Yeah. Whereas if you're king, that's
you have to be king, innit?
The only way of not being the king is
Okay, but that's just like saying it's funny because it reminds me of a post that I've commented on yesterday about how, judging people when they've committed a crime. And for me, I think that judgment comes from the law of cause and effect and the weight it has on your subconscious and your conscience. Like if you've done something wrong, the cause of an effect is like karma. It will come back to you. So there is a judgment, but because we live in this system, we think that judgment should mean we should have prisons, we should have people controlling this and controlling that. But that's not really how it should work. And because of that, we want to tell other people how they should be controlled, but we don't want to be controlled ourselves.
Yeah, that's a bit mad. But where does that leave crime then?
But then it's a bigger picture, it's a process, do you know what I mean? It's a conversation that people have to get their heads around because, do you know what I mean? The thing is, if you don't believe in violence, but yet you commit it, it's a situation where you can, do you know what I mean? You respond how you feel you need to respond to that. But there shouldn't be a law that tells you how you should act in that situation. Because I may tell you I wouldn't have done that, but if I was put in your situation, I may have, and things happen. But it's a hard thing for people to understand because it's kind of like so used to having someone did something, you can call the police, But if you want to do it yourself, commit a crime because someone did something to you, that's your business. But there will be consequences, and then it's a vicious cycle. Do you know what I mean?
So do you think
Wait.
No,
it sounds chaotic. I know it sounds chaotic.
You said handbags are gone.
No, because you know what I mean, we don't have that fire in our belly. That's the problem because we're not built and we've not grown that way. But these things, do you know what I mean?
So Viking times should come back. That's what I'm saying. So you should have a monarchy as well.
No.
If we're going back there,
why are you against the monarchy? Why wouldn't you want
What, king and queen?
Yeah.
Because who are they?
King
Why?
and queen.
Do you know what I mean? If they were the most enlightened, beautiful people in the world, then
that's not what the king's job is.
What's the king's job then? To tell people how we
to
should
make the
live.
people happy.
You can't do nothing. That's why they ended up having these little other authority groups because they couldn't even control.
Yeah, because it's just
got lazy.
And they probably got
and they just wanted to be
use that power again. Yeah.
No, but they used their armies to make sure things were being done. That's the monarchies always hide behind their armies to do their work. They're sitting there all nice and warm and eating while the peasants are there running around, and you've got the armies they're destroying other people's homes and stuff for what?
But you can
conquer land.
But you do still get some very wise, peaceful, benevolent leaders like.
Yeah, but then have a leader, innit? Have leaders.
Like, we could have somebody like Haile Selassie. We need him back.
He was a savage.
Joe Rastafari, ever living, ever faithful, ever sure. Selassie I the first.
Because he brought together colonies. He brought together different I don't know,
Yeah,
leading and stuff.
but it
does-
never
it
takes
does
one
some
person
stuff
to do all those things.
You
though.
did. I've been reading about it.
Trust.
You know where this has come from. I've been reading a book called The 48 Laws of Power. Check it out if you want.
Some skullduggery, but
Yeah, he did.
sometimes
He did.
skullduggery is needed, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, I agree.
Whatever that is.
Like when you're when you're.
I know Josh has used this word. Well, he uses this word a lot. Why don't you give a definition for skullduggery while we're on it?
Skullduggery.
Skullduggery is just.
Skullduggery. You gotta
Sounds
get
like
down,
grammar.
dirty.
Yeah, just getting down and dirty, like wicked and badness. Like, how can I explain it? But in a cunning way, innit? Skullduggery is like trickery and evil put together.
Man, that's just on pure fuckery. That's it.
Anarchy, as they call it.
Skullduggery. You gotta get down dirty, baby.
Oh.
Skullduggery is basically like cunning.
I'm ready to be sad, by the way. So look, I'm all up for a bit of off-grid living. I think there obviously has to be some sort of a balance, because we can't have I don't think we can have a monarchy and just have one man ruling the thing. It's just gonna there's too many flaws in it. Like, it's happened before.
Yeah.
They get lazy, like you said. They get too power hungry, and it's the same with governments. But then I can't picture a world of everyone running around free.
How do you give it to the people? Like, how do you allow the people? You
But
can
that's
only
the
do
thing,
something
you
like
do-
that through technology.
No, but what you do
Or
is
from
you
spirituality and
raise
connectivity,
awareness.
something in the mind.
You raise awareness to people. You create projects where people can enter in these things, where they can talk about it, get more familiar. Slowly but surely, people know how they're supposed to be moving.
Yeah, but
And
it's like-
those who are, let's say, less what's the word? Not
As inclined.
no, you know where they just don't want to get involved. They're like, I want to do what I want to do.
Sort of ignorance of what's going on.
Yeah, those
The
who
hermits.
are like that. Yeah, you like I said, you can't control. Like, they're gonna do what they're doing.
What's
At
you
the
going
end
to
of the
leave
day.
them to go and be hermits then?
Uh,
Are they just going to be left to go and be hermits?
the thing is, who am I? Who are you to even try and dictate and control these people and what they do? You wouldn't naturally anyway.
Yeah,
But
yes.
because we have a system that does that, we don't have to think about it. But if you are being free and you're enjoying your life and everything, and you're happy and you're good and whatever, you're not really trying to hold other people down, unless if they do something to you. But there may be ways that you work with that based on your thinking, your beliefs, and whatever. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's karma. What they do to you will happen to them in some way, shape, or form, and if you follow them, you'll feel the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
So-
One day. That's what I'm saying. So
Little-
you don't even need a prison for that.
A bit of a U-turn, and just to touch on our last podcast as well, and you just mentioned it, technology.
Yeah.
So with COVID in mind, what we said about 5G, living off grid,
Yeah.
do you think technology is negative? Like, or would you, if you was to go live off grid, would you still introduce that into that community? Is that even possible?
Well, I guess off grid is off the electric grid, isn't it? So, no.
And then people are using like solar energy to kind of.
You can use solar
I
energy.
think, to me, that's a disrespect, bro. Are you going to go being off grid and then you're still harnessing energy? You're rude.
But it's natural energy, though. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
No, it's not natural, bro.
But then how do you
Because you
generate?
use technology to get it, innit?
I
It
see,
depends,
yeah, I see, you could
So you want to benefit off everyone's
The
electric
solar-
science,
the solar
but
panel.
you don't want to be actually part of everyone.
No. There's levels
So,
to
yeah.
it, because there's technology that.
Yes,
We
very-
did
It's
teach
good
the
for
science,
us.
you know.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, but it depends on what angle you're coming from. If you're like the Amish people, where they disconnect from everything and everybody, then that's one thing. But if you just want to be off grid so that you can grow food more naturally, be more in control of your life path and what you're doing, but you want to use a bit of technology, as long as that technology isn't harming the space around you or your health, then.
You see where I see
But if it's
but
but if it's 5G and there is real evidence that it is making us all sick, then yeah, it wouldn't make sense to even have it there. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't make any sense. So it depends on how you can work with it. If it's good for you or if it isn't.
I think
And it's a choice to make.
personally, I think that you see technology. If they use it the right way, they can make they can pattern the world the way you're saying it, like that it should be in it, and there could be a way for everyone to connect with each other everywhere all the time, because it already isn't. We've got Instagram and all these things. If everyone was on the one world network, the United Network or something, then everyone could just do what they want to do and communicate, share ideas, coordinate to get things done, like in the environment, whatever. But the problem with that is that it can be easily manipulated by someone, because that technology will be like a system or a network which will have like a controller. or
which dictates how you can move. Do you know what I mean?
But like another point about the whole going off grid thing that I just think is a bit like doesn't really make sense. Like or like maybe it would make sense. Like if there was no government that like say just England went on some spiritual trip, and everyone in England was like, we're gonna do this off grid thing. We're all gonna be.
It's never gonna be all.
What happens when France says, they might just throw away all their guns and them thing, and all their power and that. Like, what happens when? Like, how do you prepare for conflict?
But that's what I'm saying. That will never happen overnight. This is a movement that's been going on for years, but I think more so now, a lot of people are thinking about it because they feel like they're being trapped right now because you can't travel. And the people that were looking to be nomads,
I'm not even gonna lie.
People that wanted to be nomads and go from one place to another.
Leave.
Yeah, so
that's mad.
and
you don't even own the planes, bro. You don't own the planes.
No, but to be honest,
all my days, it's making bare sense what you're saying now. It's all coming out to me now. So if I own my own plane, can they tell me that I can't leave? Can they do that?
They might not tell you can't leave, but they might say you can't enter here. So it's essentially the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And other countries wouldn't accept me either, would they?
Potentially, yeah. If they're all living under that one world order, if they're all in agreement with who can and can't come in.
Yeah. But with this world alliance,
leave if you want. You might just be flying around in your plane because you can't get back in nowhere.
That's only 700.
I can't land.
But this is one of the reasons why I was so keen to have this conversation, and with Maxine as well, because I've always been someone that sort of shuts down these type of conversations, and I don't entertain them. But it's not because I don't believe, it's just because I don't want it messing with my headspace. I'm moving in a direction right now. It could be the wrong one, but I'm just scared of it right now. But this COVID and the lockdown has forced you to think different.
That's good. You need that sometimes, though.
But this situation has forced you to do it, and I have been questioning everything. So I think, okay, look, I'm fed up with these guys telling me what I can and can't do, how I should go about things. They don't even know things. Look at Boris talking. This brother don't know what he's talking about. But he's here giving that advice. We can all see. The whole nation can see. You ain't got Scooby Doo, mate. For me, I'm like, look, I don't. So why are we got?
Why are you there?
Why are you there then?
I honestly, you see what I don't get as well. I don't see why the government feel like it's their responsibility to worry about us that much. That's what I don't get as well.
What do you mean?
Why are they so worried about if we get sick?
They're not worried. If they were worried, do you think they'll allow McDonald's to open and all the shops that sell sugar sweets, all the shit that make people sick?
This is just to push their own little agenda thing.
You know, it's one of the lessons.
We care about your health, but we're going to allow you to still drink Coke and sweets and all the things that have made you sick over the years. But it's fine, don't worry.
And I always bang on about the pollution. I'm still going to let you drive your cars then, your big 5-litre Land Rover.
Well, they're moving into driverless cars now and fuel, not using
robots.
But I don't rate them, man. That bugs me.
Yeah, so it's a lot. It is a lot, but yeah.
This could bring us on to a natural end of that conversation. We can focus a bit more on COVID, and we can spend a few minutes talking about that. But what I really want to understand from you is whether or not you think COVID is real. Like, what is your general thoughts on COVID? Is it real? Are we dying? Is it 5G?
See, the sad
find out next time. Let's do the podcast.
I think the sad thing about this all is that not many people know their body, and they don't really know how certain things work to even question what's going on right now. So for me personally, throughout this whole time, I've just been listening to a whole with science, doctors, people saying this, that, and the other. And there's two sides. There's the side where they'll say viruses are real, you know, you can catch them, do you know what I mean? But then there's other scientists that will say, or people in that health profession, whatever, will say, you can't catch a virus. And it's something where to do with the poisoning of your cells and the toxicity from food that we eat, from pollution, from radiation, that causes sickness within you. So if I've got poor health, what's going on in my body, literally right now, I can't give that to you. But if I have, let's say, symptoms, because my body's eliminating the toxic things in my body, there might be signals or something that ignites the signals in you, like a communication, where your body's seeing if you've got the same kind of thing. And if you're healthy,
and it starts flushing,
you're not, it's not even going to pick up anything. But if you're dealing with something in your body at the time, you're most likely to pick up symptoms as well. That is the controversial argument.
Yeah.
So when it comes to if I believe in COVID or not, I'm more inclined to say no, but then I can't say that as 100% because I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, and all the rest of it. But I just think the way they've kind of said, you know, it's a killer, it's a pandemic, and they're saying there's only little chance of people dying, 99 point something like that, but yet that warrants a lockdown, it warrants this, that, and the other, and to me it just sounds all a bit fishy. And you hear a lot of reports about how a lot of death certificates they put on COVID when it was other things just to raise up numbers.
That's what I was going to ask you.
So you have to put all those things in perspective and then think, okay, like I'm not just being difficult and saying I don't believe. There's reasons for me to be suspicious about the whole thing.
So the people that are out there that have had COVID or they've lost family members, do you think that then? What is that then? What did they die of? What did they catch? What were they sick with?
Which is interesting, exactly, because the PCR test, which I think, how many tests are there?
I think there's
one or
three.
two.
There's 3 vaccines. I don't know how many tests.
No, but when it comes to the PCR test that people have been using to say whether or not they've got COVID, that is not a diagnostic tool. It doesn't tell you if you've been infected by a specific virus. It just tells you how much of a viral load you have in your system based on a sequence that they can alter. And the guy...
So just to stop you there, a viral load, so not necessarily that particular virus,
they're using CoV SARS-2 genetic material to see if they can see that same type of material in there. But if that virus or whatever their genetic material has always been in us, of course you're going to see it. Of course everyone's going to have it. And the bigger point of the PCR test, the guy who created it, Kerry Mullis, he was saying that it shouldn't be used as a diagnostic tool. He said you can use it to see how much of something is in there, but to defer meaning from it is questionable.
And that man actually created it?
Yeah, he died last year.
How did he do it?
Pneumonia, apparently. August 2019.
So I guess there's another theory out there.
19.
COVID started before even COVID.
Just.
So.
And he's there. You'll see him on interviews saying.
I guess another theory is then that he's been someone who's.
Boy, you look at all these pieces of the puzzle and you think, well, how convenient is it that he's not here to talk about this? Do you know what I mean? Because I would be everyone would be knocking on his door.
I'm not gonna lie, Maxine. As time goes on, I agree more and more with some of the things that you come out with. Because I just think as well, like something as simple as The Simpsons.
See, that's how they get you.
How have them man there got so many things right? How have they predicted all of these things? How did they know he was gonna get COVID? How did they know that there was gonna be Twin Towers lit down and all of that? Like it's all mad.
How did the
Simpsons?
How did they know that what's her name, Kamala Harris, was going to be vice president, and she wearing the pearls and the same purple top and thing 10 years ago?
It's true.
Maybe they just make educated guesses, man.
Nah, man, come on.
You're using algorithms and things like that.
They know there's a plan. Come on, but listen, we've got rulers, world rulers. They are influential. They have money. They know what kind of world they're trying to shape.
Why are they baiting it up on Simpsons then?
Because they like to, they say, what does it say? Their failure will be through the symbols. There's a saying, their downfall will be the symbols. Because plain sight, Illuminati, if you believe in all of that, they like to put things out there because part of their thing is that they have to tell you what they're doing, but they do it in certain ways. Because obviously they don't want you to stop them from what they're doing. So it's kind of like they've done something 20 years ago and then they release information and say this was real, it happened. By then, they've built this, they've done that, you can't do nothing about it anyway. It's like, okay, cool, did anyone get arrested? Did anyone lose their job? Like, if none of that happened, then you're basically saying to us that things can happen whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Just because these people have that power. And that's what I'm saying. People are so quick to be like, oh, trust the science, trust this. But do you know these people? Do you know their values? Do you know their personal lives and what things they've done that might be questionable that we don't agree with? No, you just hear all the good stuff and of course you would. Because they want to push whatever they're pushing through.
You don't know what kind of debt that person is in and all of them things, and then people just say, I'll write you a check to say so and so. You don't know though.
But for countries like New Zealand who have had very low, had a very low death count, their prime minister or president, I don't know what they have in New Zealand, but wherever she is, whoever leads that country, she was very strict with their lockdown measures and how they went about handling things. So they've either had like very low or no fatalities from COVID. So do you think a country like that then hasn't bought into the UN agenda, or do you think?
Of course they have.
They
got China knocking on their door too.
They're just the ones that are being like, look, we followed the rules.
Yeah.
You should be like us.
Listen.
Okay.
Yeah,
So they're the worst ones.
Listen.
Yeah, the
okay.
worst ones. They're the little house niggas.
Listen.
Sorry.
Yeah, man. Like you've got Trump talking about how China is trying to impose their communist agenda in America. That's why they're in the shit right now. They're all over the place.
Why can't one of these people just take over the world and hurry up and Jesus, man. Just hurry up and run the thing, man, so we can all get on with our lives.
Would you join or would you rebel?
Rebel against what?
Against the leaders.
But I'm joined, fam. I'm already joined.
Okay.
Man's part of society already, innit?
Yeah, but Maxine's, it sounds like she will rebel. She's going off grid. She's packing her bags.
It sounds like.
Do you know what?
Why not you just let them do what they want to do?
No, because for me, I've always been someone that has to question everything. Like I've hated living in this superficial world of shit. And I've always been quite a sensitive person, seeing things for how they are.
Yeah.
So I can't live like that because that will be the end of me if I live like that. Some people can carry on and but that's just not my way. So that's why I'm more inclined to look at
I wonder what they're going to do. Yeah, it depends on what the lifestyle is.
Do you know what I mean? Because if you know they're doing these things to you and they're killing you off for whatever reason, whether it's intentional or not, based on what poisons they have in the mix.
These things done under
It's like, why do I want to be, how can I be real to you? How can I be real to myself? How can I, it makes no sense. But they say ignorance is bliss, and some people are happy to stay there. And that's
what I'm more interested in is how you've navigated yourself around all of this. Like, how have you consumed all of this information without your head exploding? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's going crazy. Well, then it just consumed you as well. Like, how have you?
When you're in certain kind of relationships, I don't know.
So you just build one with
It's the same thing. The oppression.
all them mind games, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. And I suppose you're quite a spiritual person, so do you use that side of you and your energy to help navigate yourself through all of this? What feels right?
Yeah. No, there is certain things that I've read, especially like Buddhism, especially like when I was about 28, I'm going on 33 now. I read things about Buddhism because I was trying to break free from how I felt about things, my emotions, being attached to certain things. And with Buddhism, it talks a lot about, attachments are the root cause of suffering because you hold on to things that you attach yourself to.
Yeah.
After it no longer serves a purpose, do you know what I mean? And so, just that, and then it just builds up over time. Do you know what I mean? People think that someone like me, if I come out now and say I'm spiritual, which I don't even want to say because people have their own idea of what that means. I'd be like, it's just been my path. Do you know what I mean? My path is my truth, and no one can tell me nothing. And the things that I've learned or read about, learned from myself and learned from others, that's helped guided me to see what I needed to see to get through what I needed to get through. So no one can tell me nothing really about those things.
Just purely because you brought it up and you said about being spiritual.
Yeah.
Just very quickly.
Yeah.
What do we consider to be spiritual? Like what is that? Do you know what I mean?
Do you want to go?
I'll go.
I mean, I want to hear you both.
Yeah, I know.
I think that being
carry on.
spiritual, it's like just to keep things very simple. Like I think that being spiritual is someone that believes in like, say, any like God or energy or whatever, but not specifically in God. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like someone that's religious but doesn't believe in any religions. But they believe in bits of different religions or whatever. They're just spiritual, innit? They believe in spirits. Someone that believes that they just have a spirit and is connected to something else, but they don't know what it is. They don't know if it's a god or like an energy source or another dimension or what, but spirit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you kind of attach it to somebody that has some sort of belief, but they can't pinpoint it to a religion or to a certain movement. Or it's just
it's kind of like a undesignated religion sort of thing.
Okay.
Like obviously people must have their own different versions of them, innit?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Everyone pictures the spirituality that they believe in differently.
Yeah. The problem is that there's loads of books that have intellectualized it. So before people started studying spirituality and religion, they just had sense of self, and they looked at how they connected themselves with the things around them, the land, the sun, the stars, everything, and how that worked. That was their way of navigating who they were and how important those things were to them because of what they did for them. The plants growing, this, that, and the other. But then once you start to deep it and you're talking about how your brain works, how your cells work, how energy, quantum physics, all that sort of stuff, then it gets a bit, you know what I mean? You could sound like you're a spiritual person, but you're just talking about energy. Science. You know what I mean? So
to you,
to me,
what is spiritual? What is that?
So for me, it's just knowing that there is a higher source, but I also think, I don't know, it's weird because I don't want to hold on to a belief because maybe my faith isn't strong enough because I'm very practical. As much as I am an idealistic and kind of see things in a kind of certain way, I'm very like, seeing is believing, but at the same time, because of my experiences and my growth and the natural ways that I've moved, you kind of get a sense that there is, let's say you have a life purpose, like you're here for a reason, sort of thing. So you start to question that, and then that's obviously in the religions, that's in spirituality.
And that is what you believe. You believe you're here for a purpose.
I just believe that we're all connected. Do you know what I mean? We are energy. Fundamentally, we are energy. And energy, once we learn how energy moves, the causes and effects, do you know what I mean? Then it's a language in itself. You know what you are, what you're capable of.
Just a quick question to anybody that's watching then. If, just a very, very specific question, but if you don't believe that you're here for a purpose, why do you think you're here? Just want to put it out there. Want to hear what you guys think. Hold up 1 goddamn minute! Sorry guys, I know you're probably enjoying the video. Well, I hope you are. But just one thing, do me a favour. Hit that like button, baby. Hit that subscribe button, baby. And leave a comment when this is done. And beg, back to it. Hope you're enjoying it, guys. Bye.
And if you do believe that you're here for a purpose,
it's a good question.
What do you think your purpose is?
Yeah. Do you think you're here for a purpose?
It's hard to. Well, I'm gonna have to say no.
Okay.
And the reason is because I don't know what the purpose is. If I was here for a purpose, I feel like I would have. When I discover what my purpose is, if there is one, then I'll say I was here to do this. But for now, I don't know.
Maybe it's fair to say then anybody here can't say that, can't answer that question then, because once you fulfilled your purpose, you probably gone then. Yeah.
others could just be self-realization.
Yeah, I was just.
And that- and-
Yeah, it don't have to be. Don't
My
have to
and
be.
purpose was
that
to
could
just
be-
experience. That's
yeah.
my purpose.
It's
It's
just
just
knowing,
experience.
experience, knowing who you are, why you are, and
Just having a little fun.
what you can create with
Kind of.
the powers within you. Do you know what I mean?
And what then? You think that feeds into the wider Mother Nature? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Because without
Mother
those
Earth.
things, there wouldn't be you. So how you pray into someone up there that you don't know, but yet this here is sustaining you, it's feeding you, but you ain't praising it, you're destroying it.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like there's a sensitivity that comes with spirituality, I would say, just as there is with people of any type of religion. There's a sensitivity towards how they deal with other people, all that sort of stuff. And without those things, like, how are you paying attention to yourself? You know what I mean? You're just moving through life without no question.
Yeah.
That's scary for me, but some people are, you know.
So then, do you think people like that are a part of the WIF organisation? Is it WIF? You said? WEF that you spoke about. People like Trump.
Yeah.
People like Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Do you think that they have identified that purpose? Or they think they've identified
Yeah.
that purpose,
Yeah.
and are
Bill
maybe
Gates.
going for it a bit too much. Like
Yeah.
that. Do you think?
Yeah, the people
They're
that are trying to be nice about Bill Gates will say that he just has a savior complex, that he thinks he's doing justice in helping humanity by getting rid of people because there's too many people.
Yeah.
And then there's people that just say
Thanks
he
for the help.
was a geek in school and he's just getting his revenge back on the world.
It's all about perspective, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean? So you don't really know.
I definitely do think
Yeah.
there should be less people in the world.
Yeah, you've mentioned that a few times.
Yeah, but you say that with a limited view of how many people are actually in the world and how much space there is in the world.
Like, I just say it
Because we're here.
with how much resources there are in the world. It's not enough for everyone.
But we can, if we know how to, if we had the skills and we learn how to create more, like the more trees there are, no matter what, the better off everybody
Yeah, but you can't overpopulate the world with trees either.
Yeah, but people say overpopulate. Do they understand how much landmass there is?
Yeah, you
Australia,
can't
New
just
Zealand,
plant loads of
Africa,
things
South
everywhere.
America.
You can't.
Yeah, but
It's
then
not good for the environment to just put loads of like fruit trees everywhere or crops everywhere.
No, but then that's why you've got this thing called permaculture. You understand the law of the land and how it influences neighbouring lands.
Yeah, and the law of all of the lands at the moment doesn't allow for there not to be the amount of humans there are. That's what I'm saying.
No, because if you learn to work with the land and you see yourself one with the land, you're not causing any problems to that land.
So on one
It's
side,
like what you take, you give back.
so you
And
think
then there's a cycle.
I just want to simplify this quickly. So you think that there's too many humans?
Yeah.
You think that that's not the case? You think there's
In the cities, of course there are, because they're just bringing everyone here.
Mm-hmm.
Of course we're overpopulated.
So do you
what
think?
space is there?
Because at the moment, like in
It's all about
cities and
space.
stuff, we live like on top of each other in tower blocks and things like that, and we are working in an office and we're all on top.
Exactly.
So you've got all of these levels, and you flatten everything out, and you spread it out. Yeah. So you push people in the cities into more spaces. You push people in this country to other countries where there's more space. You think that how much square meter would each person have? Do you know what I mean?
Not enough. That's what
we
I
don't
think.
Yeah.
Not enough space. Not enough to be self-sustainable and grow their own stuff. No way. Not every person.
Yeah, but then
There's not
how?
enough space
Okay,
for
cool.
that.
But how do they map and calculate that to know exactly in all the land space that we are aware of is even mapped out? Because there could be more. Who knows?
Okay.
How do we say if there's X amount of people here and there's X? How can we actually say it's going to work or not? And that's I'm saying that the controlling nature of what we are.
Yeah.
We don't see how we can create a better solutions. We just say because of fear and what we think might happen, we're not going to do. But if it's never been done before, how do we know if it's going to work or not? And the thing is, we are social people. Like we all want to be together. Not everyone's going to want to be alone. So you work together in the space that you're in. And if that space is what's keeping you alive, then you'd be stupid to not respect it. You destroy that, you're destroying
it
you.
does. And it also sounds like the perfect place for us to end.
Trust.
Thank you.
Stupid, as she said. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Maxine, thank you so much for coming and being our first guest. It's been an absolute pleasure, and this has been super interesting, super in depth. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let us know what you think. Tell us what you think of our first guest as well. Yeah. We'll include her socials and stuff for you guys to follow her. She really goes at it online. But thank you again. I'm Kane Carter. This is the Seymour Podcast. Peace. Peace.